Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We are going to be talking about how to know if a relationship is God's best for you. And I have a very special guest with me today, my good friend Shakiya.
Hello, everybody.
So today we just decided to come in here and talk about our friendship that we have basically established for the last 9 years.
Wow. I still can't believe it's been 9 years
I
already.
know. It's just going by so fast.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into it. Sit back, relax. I
Yes.
am, for one, just comfortable. We just want it to be
Yes.
a conversation. But we do feel that this is important
Yeah.
because those of you out there, maybe in a place where you're wanting to know, like, how do I know if this connection is right for me?
Yeah.
It's important that we have good relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to start,
Okay.
let them know, like, how long we've been friends and how we
Okay.
kind of established our friendship.
So we met in 2015
Yep.
through the ministry Pinky Promise. Discovered that our birthdays were a day apart. And so after that, we were like, okay, you're a special type of person
Right?
because you're
Right?
born in September. So, and then our birthdays were literally a day apart.
Yeah.
And so we decided that we were going to have a birthday dinner
We
together.
did.
So we did that. And mind you, we had just met. So it's not like we were friends for a long time. We were like,
Mm-mm.
we should do like a birthday.
Right.
And we did it. And you might have to insert like the picture of us.
Oh yeah, I'll show you guys the picture because
Yeah.
we look very different.
Very different. Very different. The Lord has taken us
He
places.
has. And I believe I was turning 26.
Okay. And I was
You were like
turned,
22.
yeah, I think I was turning 22.
So we were like babies back
Yeah,
then.
and then we had common interests, like just like very surface kind of level
Yeah.
things. Like what just stuff that you're trying to get to know someone.
Right.
Like we like to go out to
We go out to
dinner.
eat a lot. That was
Yeah,
our
like
thing.
that was our
Go
thing.
to the outlets.
Yeah, like stuff like, that girlfriends do,
Mm-hmm.
We like to travel, so we would talk about
Right.
that. We
We
had
did.
some trips planned.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like our friendship, that's just kind of how it was. I remember hearing about Kamisha before like the meetings because one of our
Mutual
friends,
friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
knew her before, and so I remember hearing about Kamisha, and I was like, oh man, this girl is like powerful, and we're gonna talk about that later. We're gonna talk about that later, just how that impacted our friendship. Like meeting her, I was like, I feel like I had already kind of knew about her just
Okay.
based off of like what was told of me about her, and I was like, man, and I was just like really starting to get my relationship with God really
Right.
serious. So I was
Same.
yearning for like friendships that were godly, and
Right.
so like kind of
Same.
hearing about her and just like where she was like in her faith and stuff like that. So I was like, like I'm not gonna force it because I'm not the type that forces friendships or anything
Right.
like that, but it just naturally
It naturally
happened,
happened.
So
Yeah. Yes. And we've just grown so much more over the years. And so, as she was saying, how we met, I always perceived her to be like a great person. Like when I met her, I just remember she was always smiling and she would always have like something to laugh about. Like she would say something, we'd be like, hey. And then she would like make a joke and then we just start laughing. Like I always
oh, that's
remember
funny.
that type of personality she
That's funny.
had.
That's funny.
And then I remember in the beginning of our friendship, I would always be like, "You're bougie, you're bougie."
Yes.
I don't know why that was like your label at the
I
time.
it was, and I had gotten to the place in my life where I was like, yes, I am.
Yeah. Which,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's just where we are. But yeah, so you used to call me bougie all the time. When we used to bicker a lot, like
Ah,
sisters. To see us where we are now, I'm like, God, you was there because we used
yeah.
to bicker a lot. Like,
Hey, we did used to bicker, but it was always like it was never we never got into no
yeah, like
heated thing.
argument.
It was
Yeah,
always like
no,
a friendly, like laughing. Like you know how
yeah.
you would play with your sister. Like me and my natural sister, we do this.
Mhm,
Where
mhm.
like she'll say something, I'll say something, we'll start laughing. We
Yeah,
did that a
we
lot.
did that a lot. I think
Yeah.
we were on our way back from like Atlanta or something, and we had said something to. I forgot what it was, but it was funny. Now I look back on it, I'm like, we was really like
Yeah.
bickering, like
Going in
like
back and
like
forth.
sisters, like for real.
Yep.
So yeah,
You said it was more surface.
yeah,
And one thing I would say friendship doesn't have to like start off so fast,
Right.
and it doesn't have to start off so deep where it's like, okay, I met this person, she's like my best friend off the beginning.
Yeah.
Because with us, we had a stable friendship. I'd always have like a good time with her. There
Same.
was never like any red flags. You know, we like to talk about red flags nowadays, but there
Mhm.
was never any red flags. Like, I've always felt very comfortable with her.
Mhm.
Even meeting her family, her mom, her dad, like I've always
Mhm.
felt like she was a safe place. And so
Yeah.
we were intentional about our friendship for some time. Like,
Mhm.
it was always stable and consistent. So I
Yeah.
will say, when it comes to knowing if a person is God's best for you, whether that be a relationship or a friendship, you want to look for stability and consistency.
Yeah.
You want to be able to say, like, I know what I'm going to get when I'm around this person, not
Yeah.
having to second guess, like, okay, if I talk to her today, is she going to like me today,
Oh, that's good.
or is she going to be feeling a way about me? Like, there's
Mhm.
should be stability and consistency.
Mhm. And I think we honored each other in our friendship, but we honor each other in our friendship. Even then, even though we weren't as close as we are now,
Right.
we still honored like each other. We still honored each other's time. And I think that helped us to be intentional
Right.
about like our friendship and like intentional about like our time together. Even when you moved to Charlotte,
Oh,
like we were still intentional
that's
about
right.
like talking like at least every now and again.
Yep.
And even though we were just talking about how we really didn't spend as much or talk as much as we do now, but like when we did talk, it was like we didn't miss a beat.
Right.
Think when you know that you're in like a covenant friendship, you have more grace for that person. You understand like, okay, they're in a new season right now. They're trying to adjust. So I'm not going to take offense if I don't talk to her, like how we used to, because I understand like where that person is at this time. And I think that's like helped us throughout the years.
Yeah.
But if you don't know that person is like a covenant
Yeah.
friendship, like you kind of may just like, oh, she's acting strange or she's
Yep.
acting different.
Yep.
But like it's just so important to like
To know.
to know, yeah, and to know.
So I wholeheartedly agree. Now, since you open up that word, now we have to go there,
Oh
because
yeah.
the people watching probably want to know,
Mm.
like, what are we talking about? She mentioned a covenant friendship. And
Mhm.
so we're going to talk about how our friendship kind of went from the surface level
Yeah.
to more of a deeper level. And now we do know that we are covenant friends. But
Mhm.
what exactly does that mean? One, I will say a covenant friendship is two believers,
Mhm.
who believe in God and share the same values,
Mhm.
because you're coming into an agreement and you want to be agreeing on the same thing. So
Yeah.
that's highly important.
Mhm.
I would say, how did we know that? I
Mhm.
believe time kind of showed us that in just like
Mhm.
the tone of our friendship. So
Mhm.
it went kind of from going out to dinners and
Yep.
going to look for things to wear to like
Mhm.
talking more about God and like the
Mhm.
plans of God for our lives, and sharing our
Mhm.
faith, and
Mhm.
even sharing some challenges that we both have gone
Yep.
through different seasons.
Yep.
Because having a consistent friendship or a covenant friendship, you're going to go through different seasons of life.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
one person may be in a season the other person's not even in or
Mhm.
doesn't even understand, but yet when you're in covenant, you're there to invest in that and understand. Like she
Mhm.
said, if you don't hear from me for a couple weeks, or I can't reach out and talk to you, then in covenant friendship, either you're reaching out to the person, or you're praying for them, or even
Mhm.
if you're not doing that, you're just still thinking the best about that friendship, because you're
Mhm.
not taking offense to, like, oh, we haven't talked.
Yeah, no, exactly like what you said, like just understanding, that person, but like in the covenant relationship, like you said, it's an agreement. Basically, I feel like when you're in a covenant friendship, it's like God put you two together to accomplish something bigger
Yes,
than yourself.
for
Like,
sure.
because we each have like a call in our life, we each have like a purpose, we each have
Hmm.
an assignment. And I believe that God put those people into your life to help you reach those things.
Right.
And so like you have to be very strategic, because like if you have the wrong people around you, they could pull you down, or they could prevent you or delay you from getting to that place in the time frame that God wants you to get to.
Yes.
because they are, they may be focused on something else. That doesn't mean that they're bad people, but that doesn't
Right.
mean that they are who you should
Yeah.
be aligned with, in agreement
Yes.
with. Like our friendship went from surface level, and it's like, we still love a good brunch, we still love a good
Uh-huh.
dinner.
Yes.
So, let's
We
not
still
get
love to
that
eat.
twisted. We still love to do all those things, but like we know that when we do get together, like, yeah, we're gonna kiki, and but it's always like it always turns to like what God is doing. It's all like
Yes.
you'll notice like the conversations that you'll have with those who aren't covenant friendships and those
Mm.
who are. Like you'll like the conversation, like, yeah, like we're like we're still like real people, like,
Yeah, for sure.
so
We
we,
love, like,
yeah,
for anybody
like
watching,
let's
let's
cut it.
understand what we're saying. Because, some of y'all might be watching saying, what are they
Yeah,
talking
they're so deep,
about?
like,
No, it's not. But
yeah.
however, we also share, again, going back to what we said in the beginning, sharing the same values
Yeah.
and beliefs. So it's not a struggle for us to be like this because
Mm-mm.
this is where we individually are.
Yeah.
So when I'm connecting with her, we're getting up. Even like we just had
Mhm.
lunch together,
Mhm.
and it was a very good time.
Yeah.
But we're at a similar place where if I begin to talk about some things, it's not like going over her head, or
Mhm.
she's not sitting there uncomfortable. Like, why are we
Mhm.
having this conversation? Like,
Mhm.
and that's something. If you feel like you're in a place where you're growing with God and your older friendships just don't seem like you fit anymore,
Yeah.
I would suggest that you pray and ask God to add people in your life for where you are. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying, because I know we have a lot of tendency to say like friendships are reason, season, or lifetime.
Mhm.
And there is some truth to that though,
Yeah.
because covenant friendships should be able to go with you through seasons.
Yeah.
Some people fit your older season. Maybe you weren't as serious about things of God, or you didn't know like where you would be now.
Mhm.
And so you might feel like, I don't fit in with this group of people anymore. Pray and ask God to send you covenant relationships, destiny helpers,
Mhm.
faith partners, people that can actually grow
That's
with you
good.
where you are. And so, yeah, we do all the normal things because we're
Mm.
human and we
We're
live a
human.
regular
Life.
life.
Yes.
So we
Yeah.
love to laugh, like,
Yeah.
we love to have jokes and things like that, but
Yes.
it's just different. And this is how I started to know that
Mhm.
our relationship was changing, because prior to where we are now, like, we both love creating content.
Mhm.
Over the years, like, you created
Mhm.
content, like she had a
Mhm.
YouTube channel at one point.
Mhm. Mhm.
I had like a previous YouTube channel. She liked posting on social media. I
Mhm.
also like posting on social media. And so we just kind of would support each other with that. Like, it
Yeah.
was like content, and we
Mhm.
had similarities even with those type of things we would share.
Very much
Very
so. Like it would
similar.
kind of be like, "Dang, did I tell her this? Did I look?"
Yes.
Like, and we
Yeah.
would not even talk, and it would just be like very similar. I'm like,
Yes.
okay,
We'd
like,
be on the same
okay, guys,
page,
like
right?
it's
So that's
crazy.
that's how I knew like there was something more to it. And I remember this because when I was going on my spiritual journey and of course growing, I noticed that she was always supporting me.
Mhm.
So there, I can even track like the years. Like, we met in
Yeah.
like 2015. I wrote my
Mhm.
first book in 2016, my very first published book. I had my first speaking engagement. She was there. Her mom was
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
And that meant a lot to me because at that point, I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, I just was like, okay, God, like, you want me to do this? And she was there. I can remember even in like 2019, fast
Mhm.
forward, like, I hosted my first ever event, and she was one of the speakers, and like she was willing to come and like share, her journey and things. It was a
Mhm.
blessing. Her mom came. Her mom brought people with
Yep.
her. Like,
Yep.
they were there.
Mhm.
Fast forward to 2021, like, I launched my first business, and you came to my first workshop, and your has just been supportive. There was never any feelings of like jealousy or
Mhm.
competition.
Mhm.
That's another thing I would probably say is a person that is God's best for you,
Mhm.
they're not going to have any jealousy towards you. You shouldn't have any jealousy toward them.
Mhm.
You should understand that you guys are made for a purpose,
Yeah.
and you should be comfortable with celebrating your friend.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, she's had great things going in her life
Mhm.
throughout the years,
Mhm.
and I've been able to celebrate with her as
Mhm.
well. Like, she has a business, she's
Yeah.
even now like just doing the most. But we celebrate each other. We celebrate
Yeah.
one another. And it's like,
Yeah.
I see her accomplishments. It's like, wow, this is my sister. Like, this is my sister in
Mhm.
Christ. Like, this is my friend. So the more she elevates, like, that's a reflection of me. And I get to
Yeah.
celebrate that with her. So we've never had those problems.
Yeah. I mean, dang. As you did the timeline, I'm
I had the
like,
timeline ready.
why?
I had it
Wow.
ready.
Like we was really, like in there.
Hmm.
But like that's just something that I've been taught. As far as like supporting people and like just we like I know that there was reciprocity in our friendship. And I'm not saying it's like a tit for tat thing. No, I'm
Nope.
not saying like that. But you also have to evaluate those friendships who are there for you
Yeah.
and who you can call on because, like that's important. And so you want to show up for those people who like really have your back. Like,
Right.
and not, like I said, not like a tit for tat thing, but just like that's you honoring them. That's you
Hmm.
showing support. Like, why wouldn't I be there
Right.
to support you? Especially like you said, you didn't feel like you knew what you was doing. So like it's important. Like I
Didn't.
know how it feels to be supported, and I know how it feels not to be supported. So like I'm going to, if I can, I'm going to show up.
Yep.
Like that's
And
just
she does. She does.
thank you. That's just who I am. And so, but also I'm very selective. I'm like, yes, I will support you, but it's like a difference. There's levels
There's
to
levels.
it. And one of my friends, she actually gave like the whole analogy of like the inner courts,
Mm,
like
that's good.
those people who are in your life that you can share things with, like your inner court people. Those people, like they know,
Yeah.
like the good, bad, and the ugly about you. Like
Yeah.
they know those vulnerable moments. And I think just we put in the work to get to this place. When God wants two people to come together,
Right.
He will do it. But
Yep.
like, we literally have like put in the work
We have.
for this,
We put in the
and
work. We
like
put in the time.
the time, like yeah,
And I love how you said like the analogy with the inner courts
mhm,
because that the older I get, the more I
yeah,
understand that.
mhm,
I used to categorize everybody on the same level.
mhm,
And I had good intentions with it. It's like if you're a friend, you're a friend. I'm going to tell you
mhm,
everything.
mhm,
I'm an open book. I would always say that. Like, I'm an open book. Well,
mhm,
now I've gained more wisdom and understanding that I'm not that way to everyone. You have to give people what they can handle. And
yeah,
then you have to also just use wisdom on like who is able to, who has the capacity for what you might want to share in your life. And so that goes on to even knowing what to look for in a person that's God's best for your
mhm,
life. And I'm an advocate of saying you need to have the fruit of the spirit,
mm,
or you need to be looking for that in a friend, especially when you're talking about a covenant friendship. Like,
yeah,
you should be seeing Christ's character displayed in that friendship, in that person. Am I saying that you have like no
mhm,
spots or wrinkles, no blemishes, you don't make mistakes? I'm not saying that.
mhm,
But what I am saying is like you should have goodness, you should have joy, you should have the meekness, you should
mhm,
have those things, trustworthiness, right? Like,
mhm,
if I tell you something small and I can't trust you to keep that,
whew,
then I'm definitely not telling you the
whew,
deepest places in my heart, because
mhm,
you've shown me with the small thing that you cannot handle that. And
mhm,
I've made that mistake before,
mhm,
not using my discernment or even overriding my discernment based off what I had a
mm,
fixed mindset of a
mhm,
person. Like,
mhm,
I would see a person and be like, oh, you seem like a nice person, you look like a nice person, you talk like a nice person, you're going to be my
mhm,
friend. I would do that and then give everything to that person without even taking time to like
yeah,
pay attention in conversations. Like, how is this person responding when you share things? I always
mm,
used to be like, well, I'm going to share, give, give, give.
mhm,
But sometimes we just need to pause and be like,
yep,
is this a mutual friendship? Or am I
mhm,
just so eager to make this person my friend?
mm,
So
yeah,
we have done
yes,
better.
yes,
And it's not that I don't trust, because I'm
mhm,
still open. I
mhm,
realize that walking this journey, like, you need people. So I'm
mhm,
still open to more friendships and more
yeah,
people, but I just am more wise now with who I would say is in my inner courts.
mhm, and we have to be. I mean, Yeah, and I remember like when we first met and like how you were as far as like sharing and stuff like that, and
Child, what was wrong with me?
you were just so just
It was the most. Like I would literally want to take pictures because I was always big on like taking pictures with my friends.
yes.
And if we all went out or something, like I would just be like, let's take a picture. And to this day I have so many pictures of like those outings and stuff because I would take a picture, I'd tag you,
Mhm.
like we just had the greatest time.
Mhm.
But I didn't even realize in doing that, like you have to even use wisdom on hanging out with your friend
Mhm.
because you don't know if another friend's seeing that and they're not there and like they
Yep.
could be feeling away. Like
Yep.
I'm just like,
We
oh,
just
we
celebrating.
just
You
celebrate,
were
you
just
know.
out.
So like being older now, like I said, we've been friends 9 years.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
we know what our friendship is, and
Yep. And like you said, we know what our friendship is, and I think and I'll just share this with you, and I believe that we have talked about this, but like when we first met, and how I was explaining how like I had heard about Kamisha prior to
mm,
meeting her, so like Kamisha was put on like a pedestal, like, and
mm,
she didn't. Of course, she did not like that.
I
Like,
didn't like that,
she
but I'm
did
gonna let y'all.
not like that at all. And now, like, and it's like, well, Kamisha, like, it would always like she was very put on a pedestal, and like, and it's great when people like see like the greatness in you and like the God in you,
Yep,
but like also, like
we don't need to be doing
yeah,
that.
we don't need.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I
It
could feel like you
is.
were like very
Yeah.
uncomfortable in those moments, and it's like sometimes you just want to receive. You don't always feel like you have to say something.
Right.
I'm so glad that we've had like the moments where we could like grow together, because I know if I would have let that idea
Mm.
of you, I would have been like, and I'll just share, like, I know, like, I had to really combat some of those things, because I'm like,
Wow.
okay, I'm not at the level that Kamisha's at,
Wow.
but like I knew that, and this is just testament that this is a covenant relationship, because I still felt connected to you. And but that just goes to show you, like, we cannot put people on a pedestal. But I think what a reason why we became so close is when we were able to like show our humanity,
Yes.
like
Yes.
our struggles, and not saying like you have to like
Because no, no,
yeah, but yeah,
you need to be vulnerable.
you need to be vulnerable.
You
You need
need
to
to
show
be.
people that, like, yeah, I'm real. Just like how we said, like, yeah, we talk about God, but when we
Yes.
get together, like, we still have just conversations. We like to laugh. We like
Yes.
to joke, but like, you know, that could have really like warped my whole
Yes.
like
Perception.
perception of you. Like,
Perception.
oh, let me not or share this or whatever with her, because like,
She's gonna judge me.
yeah, she's gonna and like
Yeah. And it's so far from the
so
reality.
far,
I think
so
sometimes the enemy
far.
does that though, because I can honestly
So,
say that I've experienced that before,
mhm, mhm,
where like people have told me like, yeah, I kind of stopped talking to you because I felt like I wasn't in a place I need to be, and I felt like you judged me, and I would ask like, what have I ever made you feel that way? They're like, no,
mhm.
but that perception, y'all, like
That perception.
you have to always think about like what is really this person presenting to me,
Yep.
not what I'm thinking. Because some of us, even I can do this at times. Like
Mhm,
we paint scenarios
mhm,
based off our logic and our
mhm,
thinking, and so
mhm.
we will put this person to be thinking a way about us,
Yep.
or maybe that look meant something instead of communicating.
Mhm.
Now, the word of God says, "Let us not forget to communicate." And I think
Mm.
that's so simple of a scripture, but so profound.
Mhm.
Why would we not let us not forget to talk about it?
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, if there's uncertainty about anything, like we got phone, text, a
Mhm.
meeting in
Mhm.
person, you
Mhm.
can write me a letter and put it in the mailbox.
Right.
Like, let's
Mhm.
communicate versus just assuming.
Yep.
We can learn so much more. And even with you, like,
Mhm.
she's not, well, I joked and said, like, I would call her bougie, but
Mhm.
what people or I was even saying of her being bougie
Mhm.
is that she has a standard of excellence,
Yeah.
period. And
Period.
that should be celebrated. That shouldn't be seen as like a, that little underlying, when I said it, I wasn't I didn't have any ill intentions.
Yeah.
But even saying things like that to your friends, you have to be careful, because if your friend has a standard of excellence, I also, feel like I have a standard of excellence too. And like, I know how it feels when sometimes people try to say, like, oh, you so extra,
You think
or
you did?
you got to have that. And like, no, I just want
Want
this.
it?
Like, I
That's
don't
what I like.
think it's better than anybody else. It's my preferences. And
Yep.
so for her, like, that's another thing that has drawn us closer together, is
Mm-hmm.
because she does have a standard of excellence. She's selective about her surroundings, her stuff, like even her car. Like, your car still looks like it did when you brought it some years ago. We gonna say when, but like even
Yep.
how she keeps her car, like how she keeps
Yeah.
her house, like how she cares for her dog, like it all speaks to like who she
Mm-hmm.
is, how she fosters her relationships, like
Yeah.
man, her friendships, her parent relationships,
Mm-hmm.
like it speaks volumes. And so sometimes we can let the enemy cheat us out of a great thing because we stuck in our heads.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of those, and that's where you have to be honest with yourself and like know, like, and be very self aware.
Yeah.
I think you have to be very self aware in order to have like the covenant relationship that God wants you to have.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you're not self aware of like, okay, maybe like I need to work on myself in regards to this, or if I'm feeling this way, is it really this person or is it really me that needs to, work on some things. So,
Right.
but I like once we kind of seen like the humanity in each other, like that just took us like
To a different place.
to a different
Yeah.
place. Like, just like thinking back on us being able to share like certain things like um with one another, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, and feeling comfortable and like safe. Like you
Feeling
have
safe.
you have to feel safe in like these relationships, like to know, because God, He wants the best for us. He's not
Yes.
going to put us in situations that's going to harm us. So He's going to put those people in our lives that we can feel safe
Mm-hmm.
with. And like we need one another. We need to, fellowship with one another. And we're not meant to do life alone.
Nope. We're not.
So, it's like if you don't have those people that you feel safe, like definitely pray for that,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so important. Because I'm a very private person. If you know me, that's all I'm gonna say. And so like even with being a private person, like I've learned like you need those people that you can trust,
Right.
and I can confidently say like, I can share something with Kamisha and know that it's not going to get out, and
Right.
like that in itself for someone like myself, that's priceless. Like
It is.
it really is, because like yes, we can, talk about the surface level things, but can I trust you with like the deep,
Mm.
dark, like the deep things of my heart, the deep stuff that I'm going through? Like, can I trust you to pray for me and not like
Talk
talk
about
about
me.
me?
Say it
Like,
again.
can I trust
Pray
you to
for
pray
me.
for me and not talk about me? Like, can I trust you to do that? Because like we've been able to share like some deep things with one another, and I
Yes.
would have never thought like we were going to get to this level, like
Yeah.
because we were just, I mean, like where we were in our friendship, it was good, but
It was
like
good.
God was like, mm-mm,
There's more.
there's more,
There's
like
more.
there's more that, like there's more to this than just,
Right. Just surface level,
yeah.
even where we thought we were. You were talking about how you have confidence and you trust me. I
Mhm.
kind of want to talk about that. So
Mhm. Mhm.
for me, like trust is a love language.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a real one,
But
like in the book,
right.
but for me, like trust is a real love language. Like just that has taken our friendship for me to the next level.
Mhm. Mhm.
Feeling safe, like when I talk to you, or just feeling safe with anything I share with you.
Mhm.
There's not been one thing over 9 years that I've shared with her that I've like heard repeated back to me or anything, and
Mhm.
that says so much. Like she has a track record of faithfulness, and
Mhm.
I like to think about like a bank account.
Mm.
So when you think about friendship, like you're either putting in or you're taking out, like making deposits or you're making withdrawals.
Mhm.
And so yes, there would be some times where everything doesn't go as you want it to go, or you're not always on the exact same page, or you don't always get to talk when you want to. But if there has been consistent deposits, like consistency and trust, like if
Mm-hmm.
I share something with you and I'm like, sometimes you'll share something, you'll be like, wow, like I really shared that.
Right.
But then, you feel safe. You're like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that just kind of confirms the connection that you have. And then you'll have another time where, hey, I'm not like feeling the best this week. Like, can you pray
Mm-hmm.
for me? And that's one thing about you that is top tier, because
Yeah, we're
you
learning that now,
you learning that
child.
now. Like, you need to have friends that, like she said, won't talk about you or gossip
Mm-hmm.
about you. If I'm sharing something that I am dealing with and I'm talking to you about it, then that
Right.
means I trust you enough to share it with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing that you can do for anybody who, who's one has put trust in you, you definitely want to take that seriously,
Very much so.
because nowadays it's not easy for people to even open up or trust another person. And like she said,
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't want us to be in this alone.
Mm-hmm.
But situations can make people become isolated due
Oh
to
yeah.
like their trust being broken, or
Yep.
feeling like they've been betrayed, or, oh, I told this person this in my vulnerability and then they use it against me. When
Right.
they feel like things are not going well with us, they're going to
Right.
tell, like, that's just not what you want. So
Right.
we've just had a lot of deposits over the years.
That's good.
A lot of deposits.
A
Now we
lot.
gonna talk about how we have had. So
Mm-hmm.
we've had some tests.
Mm-hmm.
Any covenant friendship is gonna be tested.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't care whether that be your marriage, a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, a friendship, it's going to be tested.
Yeah.
But you have to know, like, if this is a person that God has placed in my life, then it's worth the work. It's
It
worth
is.
fighting. And when
It
I say
is.
fighting, I'm talking about like communicating, or it's
Mm-hmm.
worth being patient. It's worth
Mm-hmm.
asking for understanding, or even asking for grace or
Grace. Yep.
forgiveness, or whatever it is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the type of fighting I'm talking about, where it binds you closer together
Mm-hmm.
and you don't like run away from it. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And that, like you said, it goes through every type of covenant, marriage, relationship, like those type of relationships. Like you have to have that and know. Yeah, that was really
Yeah.
good.
I know you were telling me about like there were times that you felt, our relationship could have gone apart. It
Mm-hmm.
could have gone apart.
Mm-hmm. There were moments where like the enemy really tried to come at me in regards to just like our friendship. But like I said, you have to be very self-aware and you have to
Okay.
know
Yep.
like what is like of God and what is from the enemy, and like
Mm-hmm.
really evaluating like, okay, has this person given me a reason not to trust them? Has this person given me a reason to, whatever it may be?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to just like, throw out things, but
Yeah.
whatever it may be for your situation, has that person given you? And like, God will always show me like Kamisha's heart, and like, and I would know like, okay, like, is there something in me that I need to like heal from? Or
Mm-hmm.
because we've all been like hurt in relationships or friendships, and so like that can kind of warp our mind, like our
Yeah.
vision of that person. And like, but the Lord will always like confirm to me like, and he may not say it like plainly, but he will always give me like, no, like,
Yeah.
stay,
Yeah.
and that's how you
Stay.
know that's a covenant, because because like our flesh,
Yes. Like I
and
said, we're human,
we're
so
human, and like those moments. And now like I see Kamisha for, like I see Kamisha, I don't
mm,
perceive her based off of like what I heard about her. Like I know
mm.
her, and
You in my
like
notes?
I'm
Cause
looking at them. Yeah, see, all right, don't get up. I'm joking. Okay, like I wasn't, like I let that image of you go,
yes.
and that allowed us to really like come together as friends and like really just see, and even if like the enemy would try, I'm like, no, like I know Kamisha,
Come on.
like,
You have to know
yeah,
your person.
you
Like,
have to know them,
you got to
and
know them. You got to know their heart. You got to know their spirit.
you got to know exactly. You have to know, and
Yeah.
it's like, because there are some people who aren't for you,
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
and there are some people who aren't for you, but like those people who are,
Yeah.
like you say, it's going to be tested. It's
Yes.
going. I'm, grateful. Like we've been able to just in this last what year or two,
Yeah.
year and a half, like the way our friendship has just like grown and just like it's really a blessing to have covenant
It
friendships.
is.
Like it really is. And I'll be honest, I wasn't like Kamisha about calling everybody my friend. Like I would put you in categories. I still do.
You still
Like,
do.
you know, associates, friends, I would,
Yeah.
put you on
Yeah.
that
You always
level.
been
Yeah,
like
like,
super selective.
okay, yeah, this is an associate. Like we cool.
Mm-hmm.
We cool. But like, I know where to put you. And
Yeah.
so like it's just so refreshing to know like those people in your life who are like really for you,
Really
who
for
like
you.
you can bring and be like, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not holding back. Like,
Right.
I'm telling you everything. Like, I may not tell you as soon as it happens, but maybe I will. I don't know. Like, it just depends.
Right.
And so, but like, I can be real and raw. And like,
Right.
for someone who may be struggling with vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
that in itself is so like profound. It's so priceless
It's priceless.
because like, if you struggle with vulnerability, like you may feel like you don't have no one to really talk to or share things with, and you like,
Close up.
yeah, you close up.
You
You
just
close
close
up.
up completely.
And then like that stuff can really fester like
Yes.
in you, and like that's just not saying you gotta share your whole
Yeah.
like every
Use
little detail.
wisdom.
Yeah, use wisdom.
But don't let the enemy play on your mind
Right.
and tell you that no one's for you, no one loves
Right.
you, you don't need anybody, because
Right.
then he can deposit any thoughts and lies about
Yep.
you, about others, and then
Yep.
you don't talk. You don't gain clarity. You don't ask for
Mhm. Mhm.
understanding. So everything he's giving you, you're believing it.
Yep.
And we're like, no, we don't believe those lies.
No.
Like that's why
No.
if you have any negativity or any thought about a person that you are close to, you
Mhm.
need to open up your mouth and have a conversation.
Mhm.
Because in clarity and even in unity there's
Mm.
strength, but you can't have unity without the clarity. So
Mm.
once we like dispel this, like, hey, is everything okay? Because when I saw
Mhm.
you, man, were you
Mhm.
having like a bad day or was it like me? The
Right.
person could be like, oh my gosh, no, like I am dealing with something
Yeah, I
with
was
my
in my
family or
yeah.
whatever. Like I wasn't feeling good all week. I'm just now getting back to the place I
Mhm.
could be outside. Like now you have a different perception. Like, oh, you take yourself out of it and
Right.
you're like, this person
Right.
is just going through. And
Mhm.
so, but imagine that happening, and then you just tell yourself, "Oh, they don't feel me like that anymore. I
Right.
guess we're not friends anymore."
Right.
And that person is not even on that same page.
And that's definitely something that I like learned from just like watching you as a friend, and like the consistency of like what people see online about you.
Yes, I was gonna say,
What are you about to say?
I was gonna say, like, let me just, yeah, since you say it, like, social media cannot be the
Mm,
basis
it
of a
can't.
true, especially like we talk about godly friendship, a covenant
Mhm.
friendship.
Mhm.
Stop letting social media be your basis. Now,
Yeah.
social media is fine if you just like that's how you met a person. Like,
Mhm.
okay, I saw your
Mhm.
page.
Mhm.
But you have to take the initiative to get to know the hearts and the minds. And
Uh,
I'm not even saying like we post anything that's not who we
no.
are,
Mm-mm.
but I'm saying like, okay, if you see me and I only show myself like going out to eat or
Mhm.
going on a date with my
Mhm.
husband, you
Mhm.
automatically perceive that, oh, like she's this way, but like
Yeah.
you don't see the times that I need a friend, or you don't see the times
Mhm.
that I'm going through, or
Mhm.
you don't see me with my sweats on because maybe I don't want to show up online a certain
But
way. So now you
exactly.
think, oh, she's always made
Right.
up and
But
she's
like
always like
no,
this. No, I'm not always like that.
no.
That's what I choose to show on a
Show.
platform.
Mhm.
Especially like when you're in leadership, we both
Mhm.
have a lot going on. My friend here, she runs her own business. She
Yes.
has like a job that's a prominent
Mhm.
job. We would say
Mhm.
that. And so
Mhm.
our presentation on social media, like for me, I have a husband.
Mhm.
I do things in ministry. I have a mentorship program and I
Mhm.
also run a business.
Mhm.
So no, I'm not gonna show up online a certain way just to prove like
Yep.
I'm down to earth. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm down to earth, but
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go in there
Like
looking a
just to
certain way just to
be.
be like, okay, this is me on my rough days. Like,
Mhm.
and I might do that, but don't judge people based off of
What you see.
appearance. Don't do that.
Yeah. Don't do
Can't do
that.
that.
Don't do that. But what that was good. But what but what I was gonna say is as far as like you being encouraging and like how you are online.
Oh, did I take it somewhere else? Okay, I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
must have had to get that off my
You,
chest
you
anyway.
did,
I
you
needed
did,
to get
because
that
people
out
can't
because people be
perceive
doing
us.
that.
They can't, and like putting you on that pedestal, or
Yes,
not just you, but like people on pedestals
people.
just based on what they see online,
Yeah,
and
man.
then it takes away the humanity of like if you do have a bad day, or if they do see you, you know,
Yeah.
show your humanness. It's like, well, dang, I thought that she was, well, dang, well, I can't have a bad day,
Okay.
like
So that what you thought?
I
I was
go.
always like this.
Yeah, like, and
Yeah.
so it's like I'm definitely blessed and fortunate to be able to like not only see like what you guys see online, but also like the behind the scenes stuff, like,
Yeah.
the things that we don't share,
Right.
and so to be able to be in that place in someone's life, you just can't take those things lightly. Like, we grown, like, friendships, it means something
It
different
does.
now than when we were like in high school. It's like, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is my friend from third period. Like, no, this is,
Proximity.
yeah, proximity.
Because we're around each other all the time. We just automatically say,
Yes, and that, I'm glad you brought that up, because when you had moved, I was like, I wonder how our friendship is going to
oh,
change.
to Charlotte.
Yeah, to
I
Charlotte.
remember. Yeah, I thought that. I was
Yeah,
thinking about that for a lot of
yeah. I
people.
was like, man, and like, honestly, those covenant friendships that I do have, we didn't miss a beat. Like, when they moved, like, I have a friendship that's like hours
Yep.
away,
Yep.
and like that friendship has been tested,
Yeah.
and but
But it's real.
it's real. Like, it has
Yeah.
been tested, and just like ours.
Yeah.
And so like we really didn't miss a beat.
One thing I'll say about that, distance doesn't matter when you're intentional. So
Yeah,
when I moved, like, she actually came to visit me. She
I
spent
remember
like the
that.
weekend with me. Also, whenever I was like back down in her city, Charleston's where I moved from,
Mhm.
I was seeing her. Actually, this is something I didn't think I was gonna share, but I think in 2017, my mom was like challenged with like sickness, and
Mhm.
it was a very rough time for me and my family. And I would not forget how like she and her family like stood by us during that time. When I tell you, like, it's something that I didn't imagine even happening to us, and I didn't know what to do because I was like the oldest of me and my sister, and then I've
Mhm.
always like had my mom, but at
Mhm.
this time my mom was not capable. So
Mhm.
I had to kind of step up and, thank God for her and her family, because I remember this. Her mom
Uh-huh.
gave me like a key to their house.
Oh yeah.
I had asked her mom if I could stay with them like one
Mhm.
weekend, and her mom was like, "Sure, you can stay in our guest room."
Mhm.
But then like her mom came to me and was like, "Our house is your house and you're always
Mhm.
welcome here." And when I tell y'all like that, I it's been marked in my mind. I will not
Yeah.
forget it, because just the safety that
Mhm.
that gave to me. Like, I never went into their house and turned the key in. But I had that key for a couple of years. But
Yeah.
it's just like having them be open like that for
Mhm.
me, and
Mhm.
having a safe place
Mhm.
that spoke so many volumes. Like I said, putting in deposits,
Mhm.
and that's where
Mhm.
she gets it from. Like, if her mom is just
Mhm.
amazing, like such a giver and amazing.
She is.
And so those of you who are watching, I do want to say, if you have grown up in an environment where maybe you don't know how to develop friendships, or maybe you didn't see that with your parents, or maybe you didn't have an older sibling or any siblings to kind of show you a bond of friendship, like, you can still have that. You can still
Yeah.
form that. And like Shakai said earlier, just being self-aware, being honest with yourself
Mhm.
and where you are. Like, if you
Mhm.
might be watching, you're like, hey, I would love to have a great covenant friendship, or
Mhm.
even like a friend I could trust, but I don't know where to start. And I would say just
Mhm.
start by healing, looking
Mhm.
at yourself and see what areas do you need to work on.
Yeah.
What areas may need to be healed in your life. Like, have you had your heart broken and it's made you close yourself up, or
Mhm.
have you
Mhm.
been lied to, or maybe you were on the other end of doing those things
Right.
because you felt like that was okay, and you're like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be a trustworthy person, or I want to be someone that a person can depend on.
Right.
You can change.
Right.
You can do it. Like, ask God to help you, and as He
Yeah.
shows you yourself, that will help you become a better friend.
I definitely agree.
Another way to know that if a person is God's best for you, and this is an example that she has shown to me. is that Shakiya has been like a mirror of God's love to me. Literally. I've
Doctor.
had don't be emotional. I'm just like, but I've had situations in the past where people just didn't, and she's talked about it. I didn't even know she was gonna talk about it, but like people have not always perceived me the right way. And I feel like a lot of my life has been trying to prove like who I really am, or trying to prove my heart to people, even in like relationships, trying to prove like, hey, like I'm here, and trying to prove in friendships, like I care for you. And I've even found myself like overcompensating many times because I just want people to understand that I care for them. And I've
Right.
lasted in situations longer than I should
Right.
have,
Right.
because I'm like, nope, I gotta prove that I'm down.
Right.
Like I gotta prove that I love
Right.
them. And like, no,
Right.
like it's okay if that person doesn't see you correctly, but she has been a reflection of God's love toward me
Wow.
in the area of like she said, like see, and I didn't know you were going to say that, like
What?
seeing my heart. I feel like she has definitely seen my heart.
Yeah.
Like there have been times that we have hung out together, and then like she'll text me like later that week and be like, I just want to encourage you and let you know like God is like, feeling this way. And that's another thing about like, even where she is spiritually, like God talks to her. And so I'm
Hallelujah.
so thankful. I am thankful
We
for a
thank God.
friend, that God speaks to on your behalf,
Yeah.
because her words have been so timely to me. Like, you don't even know, like, the half of, like,
Wow.
sometimes that you have said things to me that God has led you to say to me, and how it just hit, like, right on time. And how there have been times that she'd always try to like, I know like in the beginning I wasn't used to receiving. I'm always like the one that's encouraging
Yep.
people, and I'm the one like telling people that, so subconsciously I would like kind of cut you off. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember like times that you would be like, hey, I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you. Why you laughing?
Because I forgot like a lot of
I
this
would
stuff.
like, no, you would be like, well, I just want to tell you that I am like so proud of you. And like in the middle of her sometimes saying it, I'd be like, thanks, girl. And I try to shorten it. And one time she was like, no, I understand that it's about, like, I don't know if we were celebrating something for you or what, but you were like, no, I understand. She's like, but I need to tell you this. Like,
That's so
I
funny.
need you to understand it. And like, she kind of helped me understand that it's okay to receive. And like now, of
Yeah.
course, I receive
We're
it,
receiving it.
but
We
it took me a while. Like, I'm
receive.
like, she's actually giving me what I need,
Yeah.
because for a while I didn't even have that. Like, I just got used to it too. It was just like,
Yeah.
well, I'm just a giver, I'm the
The,
poor.
person that's like encouraging others, like.
But she has like so many times reflected God's love to me, like reminding me like I'm God's daughter, or like
Yeah.
God is like proud of you, or whatever it is. And even praying with me, like times that recently I called you.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, and see, this is the thing, like, don't ever think that because you have a strong friend, because you're also one of the strong people too. Like, people consider her as a strong friend. But we had that vulnerability. I called her and I was like, I need you to pray, because it's a lot
There's a
going
lot
on.
going
It's the
on.
warfare is
There's
going
a lot
on. And
going
so
on.
after we spoke, she was like, well, we're going to pray. Like, we talked, and she was like, well, we're going to pray before we get off the phone. And that
Yeah,
is how you know.
yeah.
Like, that is how, it's another level. Like she said, there's levels. Like, she there were times that we've prayed for each other,
Yeah.
separately. But this particular time, she was like, we're going to pray before we get off the
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
And y'all, that's top tier. That's
That's
priceless, because
really.
a friend that can discern, like, okay, she needs this now. Like, a friend that seeks God for you,
Yeah.
that's all
Top
I got on
tier.
that. So I do want to share a scripture that I think is important when it comes to like one of the importance of having a person in your life that you can agree with
Yeah.
is Matthew 18 verses 19 through 20. Okay, and I'm reading the NIV version, but it says, again, truly I tell you that if two of you on earth agree about anything that they ask for, it will be done by my Father in heaven. Verse 20 says, for where two or three are gathered in my name, there am I with them. And so what I find so amazing about those two sets of scriptures is that I've heard so many times, like, where two or three are gathered in his name, he'll be
Yeah.
in the midst. I've heard it so many times. But the previous scripture, again, I truly tell you that if two of you on earth agree about anything they ask for,
Mm,
it will be done by my Father in heaven. So, like,
mm,
you know, two people coming in agreement, and that's something that we've done.
mm-hmm,
I trust her so much that
mm-hmm,
I shared something with her about a desire that I have.
mm-hmm.
And I haven't really, when I say I do not share like my
Yeah.
desires and my dreams with many people, like
Yeah.
probably just my husband, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Gotta be the
trust her,
same.
and like I said, we have a track record, so like she's standing in agreement with me on what I'm believing God for.
Yep.
And that just means so much to me, to know that you have a person like standing, not just believing for you or wanting it to happen, because we
Mm-hmm.
all want the best for our friends.
Oh yeah.
But it's another level when you can say, like, I am believing God with you
Mm-hmm.
for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's believed God with us. Like, we just moved into, we
Mm-hmm.
just bought a new home, and like she's been there from that beginning process, like
Yeah.
believing God for us that it is going to be yes. And we're
Yeah.
sitting here, and I'm believing God with her
Yeah.
for her future. Like, there are
Yeah.
things that God is like doing right
Yes.
now. We're
Doing
like,
right now. Hot off the press. Okay. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. It's so many like directions we can go with this. Like you said, it's so important that you can have people in your life to agree with you on a thing, because we're like in this life we're going to go through things. Like we're
yes.
going to go through um situations, and we're going to need those people who can stand in the gap for us, who
Mm-hmm.
can lift up our arms when we're too tired, who can, get a word up to God when it's like, man, God, my friend, she may not be telling me what's really going on, but like
Right.
I'm discerning that something is going on, God. Like, give me, like, show me what's going on, like, so I can pray effectively for my friend.
Effectively.
So show me like how I can really war in the spirit for her.
Mm.
Show me how I can like, serve her, him, whoever it may be. Show me how I can do that, because like, yeah, when it's on a whole different level, like you have to really like know, like when God puts people in your life, like you can't take
Wow.
that lightly.
Wow.
Like you really, like, even with her sharing like, those desires with me, like I don't take that lightly. Like I don't,
Mm.
you know
Yeah.
and that's how I'm able to celebrate with my friends who do, those promises that are like, I'm able to like, yes, people, they'll share it on social media or whatever, and it's like, oh, congratulations, but like I was there, like
You was in the
I
trenches
was
with
there,
me.
like, so it's on a whole different level. Like we're celebrating, like
Yeah.
it's on a whole different
And I
level.
feel like even you being there, like, it keeps you or any of us from like feeling comparison
Yeah.
or envy
Mhm.
or feeling jealous, because no, no, no.
No, no, no,
You
baby.
know what it took for
Mhm.
me to get where I am.
Mhm.
And
That's
that's
good.
why, even with Jesus, like him having those disciples,
Mhm.
like, of course the multitudes knew Jesus, and
Mhm.
they saw the healings and they saw the miracles, but the disciples understood
Stood.
another level.
They
Like, a lot of
under.
people see at the top, they
Mhm.
don't know what the dirt looked
They
like.
don't know.
Woo!
They don't
And
know.
that would keep you from being like, oh, she thinks she did. No, no, no.
Right.
How could I think
They
that when I was with you, when you were fighting to get where
like.
you are, when you were praying just to get
Mm,
through to the
next.
next day or something? Like,
Yeah.
this war is going on, and my friend is just trying to get to the next day or the
Mhm.
next week, or,
Mhm.
that next place God is pulling her. There's no way I'm
Mhm.
going to ever
Mhm.
think envy or jealousy about that.
Mhm.
So I just want to encourage you guys, like, pray for covenant friends,
Mm.
covenant relationships, so that
It's so worth it.
you can really have God's best, because friends, they help you, like she said in the very beginning,
Mhm.
they help you get to the place that God
Yeah.
has. I thought about a scripture when you were talking just now. Created me a clean heart and renew a right
Mm,
spirit within me.
mm,
So the way that you're going to have this type of connection is you have to have a clean heart. Like you got to ask God to like purify your heart and renew his spirit within you
yeah.
so that you
Oh
can
yeah.
see people
Yes.
how God
Yes.
wants you to see them. Like
Yes. What?
cuz God,
Mm.
he knows like what you can handle.
Mhm.
He knows what type of people you can handle at the level that you are. He knows whose heart that you can handle.
Yeah.
And so sometimes if we're not in a place where we're striving to even have a clean heart, like you're not going to have access to certain people.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
he's like,
True.
okay, I got my daughter over here. Like she can help you.
Mhm.
I know you just started that business and I know
Mhm.
that you don't know everything. She's there.
Mm.
But you
Mhm.
have to get to the place where you could even receive her.
That.
You had to get to the place where you even want the help.
That.
You had to get to a place where you're not going to make this friendship toxic because you still kind of toxic.
That. Mhm.
So it's like I was just telling her, I was like, if we are striving to be our best for God, we are going to attract the right people.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
God is like, okay, you stripping that away.
Yep.
Okay, you gave that to me.
Mhm.
Okay, now you don't deal with that anymore.
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
I can present you because see, I
Mhm.
know I'm calling you up here.
Mm.
And you still down here with the chickens.
Mm.
You an eagle.
Eagle fly.
I need you to flutter. I need you to get
Mm.
out of the chicken pen
Yep.
or whatever you call it.
Yep.
And I need you up here. And then when you get up here, as you keep laying all those
Mm.
weights aside,
Mm.
boom, I got a Shakiya for you.
Mm. I got a
I
Kamisha
got a
for you.
commission for you.
And it's like, dang, what?
This was so
It
good. I'm
was.
blessed. Let me tell
I'm
you, you
you.
blessed me.
You. We blessed each other
You
because
blessed me.
we just, and I'm glad we were able just to kind of just talk and
Yeah.
just, So hopefully
Yes.
you guys were blessed by this,
Yes.
and but I mean, I think we pretty much touched on like safety, feeling safe,
Feeling safe. Yep.
like knowing who you are and like healing, just like how you just talked about just now, so
Heal.
you can receive
Receive.
a person who God has sent to you,
And grow.
and yeah,
Grow free.
grow free.
Because we're growing every day,
Yep,
whether or not we understand that.
yep,
Like we're growing every day, but what direction are you growing in? Like you don't want to grow in bitterness, you don't want
yeah,
to grow in anger, or you don't want to grow in isolation. You want to grow free.
yeah. Be free.
This is so good.
Yes,
Thank you guys for watching this, and I
yes,
just pray that anybody who is watching this right now, that you definitely got something out of this.
yeah.
Maybe if it is for you to just search your heart and pray
Mhm.
for those covenant friendships, covenant relationships. Maybe if it's for you to reconcile with someone that you may have pushed away. You might have
Yeah.
pushed somebody away, or someone that was there to help you. Or maybe if you just want to open up the doors of communication to someone that you haven't talked to in a while, and you're like, oh, you know what, there's really nothing that happened between
Right.
us. Like they haven't done
Mhm.
anything to me. I
Mhm.
just need to communicate. Then
Mhm.
I pray that you do what you are needing to do to
Yeah.
have that relationship. So I thank you all for watching,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
we'll see you in the next video. Well, I will
Yes.
see you in the next.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I get to come back. Okay.
I don't know. You never
You
know,
never
but
know. You
I will
never
see you
know.
guys in the very next video. Thanks.
Yes.